The Lakers are mine, right?
They are.
So the Lakers, it's funny because some of their trade targets for me are free agents also. So I'm just going to throw all these together. Their actual free agent targets, they might be able to work if they renounce everyone with the bigger mid-level. I'm going to assume they're operating with the taxpayers mid-level, which they won't be doing. Like, it gets all sorts of tough if they do sign and trades. But like an Alec Burks, a Patty Mills for this team, I think would be really good. And you let Dennis Schroeder walk at this point. It's not even just price range. I think if he believes he's getting the $84 million the Lakers offered him, let alone the $100 million that he thinks he's worth, I would argue he is out of his mind. But I'm just letting him walk. I hated the fit. He can't anchor lineups on his own. I'm not saying Mills or Alec Burks could, but they're definitely more complementary on offense than he is. That being said, I do think the Lakers, between having the number 22 pick that you can officially move after the draft, having Kyle Kuzma at 3 years and $39 million, having KCP's salary, the ability to sign and trade Talen Horton-Tucker or Alex Caruso, if again they're amenable, because you do need to work it out with the players involved, they can be aggressive with sign and trade options. Like, I love Dinwiddie in Los Angeles. I love Kyle Lowry more. Maybe Toronto's willing to accept like a facsimile of the offer they wanted to take at the trade deadline, where is this Kuzma a sign and trade for Horton-Tucker? And I don't even know if you need more salary beyond that. Maybe you need a smaller one to include it. Or I like Kemba Walker on the Lakers. I know he's an injury risk there, but if you can cobble together just the salaries, it's KCP, it's Kuzma, and I think you need another one. It's probably a sign and trade scenario with a THT or a Caruso. I really think Kemba could help out the Lakers a ton because they need that a legitimate third best player, number one, but someone who can lead the offense in the no LeBron minutes, or at least elevate it in the playoffs during the LeBron minutes. And a healthy Kemba Walker does both of those things.
Agreed, but I just don't know how much we can count on the first word of that name, the healthy part. It feels like the knee is troublesome enough that I have trouble believing that he's going to turn the clock back enough to be the third best player. Like, as you're saying that, I'm sitting here thinking, like, is it that much of an upgrade over this version of Schroeder?
Yes.
It's an upgrade, but I don't know how substantial it is. Like, I might honestly rather bring back Schroeder at $84 million than commit to this Kemba Walker contract.
Oh, no, I wouldn't. I'd rather Kemba Walker. And what I think is also...
I hope I'm wrong, because Kemba's great, and healthy Kemba is so fun. I don't know that we're going to see that again.
I do think what's appealing about him, and this wouldn't, if you're going the Schroeder route, it doesn't apply to this, but you don't get hard capped by trading for Kemba because it's not a sign and trade. And if you're hard capped in the Lakers, that really limits what you could do midseason. So I think that's why he might be more appealing or more realistic than a Lowry or Dinwiddie. I think Lowry's the best fit. If it's between, throw the hard cap situation out of the table. If it's between DeMar DeRozan, Russell Westbrook, or Kemba Walker, let's say all those options are on the table, and Russell Westbrook's obviously under contract, he's not a free agent. Which of those three are you taking?
I really like DeRozan in LA if they can make it work.
I don't hate it. I don't know if he's the guy I want to hard cap myself for, but I don't hate it either.
It's fair. He doesn't offer enough spacing, but if you're talking about a guy who can anchor a second lineup, there it is. I went less sexy here because as much as Lakers fans love to dream on Twitter about lineups of like Damian Lillard, Bradley Beal, Pascal Siakam, LeBron James, and Anthony Davis, it's not going to happen. I have trouble believing they're going to land any of those huge names because they just don't have the asset juice to make it happen right now. So I'm going with Reggie Bullock and Josh Richardson here as primary targets because I think that's the more realistic type of player they'll be looking at. The 3-and-D guy, because that's ultimately what you always want to surround LeBron James with, and somehow his teams routinely fail to realize that. But Bullock had a hugely...
Did you see Woj say that if they're unable to, I think if they move on from Schroeder or something, they might have interest in trading for Ricky Rubio? And I was just like,
of course.
Their never-ending quest to not surround LeBron James with enough shooting is impressive, actually.
It's baffling. But yeah, Bullock had just a hugely overlooked, underrated season with the Knicks this year. And we've talked about Richardson already, where if he is able to turn it back and they can hit on that dart fire, that team is going to be so damn good. But I think that's ultimately the archetype they should be looking at. Forget about the big names. Just target the guys who actually fit this roster.
Do you know what they could really use? Danny Green. and that's not even tongue in cheek. Like
you're right.
They could have used it. They could have used Danny Green.
But what if they got Damian Lillard and Kawhi Leonard and Bradley Beal?
Reggie Bullock would be fantastic on this team. I really like that target from him. I don't know if he'll fall into the mini MLE range, but if they're working with the full MLE, I would love him in LA. I think he'd be spectacular.